Hi, I'm Bill Black, your host for the year 2000 Alberta Environmental Stewardship Awards hosted by the Alberta Cattle Commission. As you can clearly see here in southeastern Alberta, it is beautiful country, beautiful but rugged. Generations of ranchers have come to this part of the country to try and do more than eke out a living here on the Milk River. One such producer who believes in the stability of this environment is Roy Audette, who is the winner of the year 2000 awards. Change is the definitive term for surviving in agriculture these days, and in southeastern Alberta, ranching is no exception. The Last Sands Ranch was established at the turn of the century. Through the decades, Roy Audette's family has weathered and adapted to the challenges faced by the industry.
There was a place on nearly every quarter section here in 1915 when the Homesteading Act came, but they lasted one winter and most of them froze or starved and had to get out of here. And the last big change was the high interest rate in the 80s. It eliminated a bunch of us.
Roy's grandfather, Paul Audette, immigrated from the United States and settled just over the border north of the Sweetgrass Mountains. In time, his son Clarence took over, and by the late 70s, Roy was running the 5,500-acre spread.
Farming was the moneymaker in the 50s and 60s, and they did make good money at it and continually kept breaking land and had some success with it. Now, as time went on, the land started to wear out, and my father was still pretty well a farmer, but I am not now.
Feeling this land was never meant to be farmed, Audette ceded it back to grass several years ago, and since then has been very careful with grass management.
I'm tending to try to undergraze it rather than overgraze it, so a little more pasture rotation. I might be able to keep my numbers up and keep the grass up too, but right now there's only 146 cows, but that's what there is.
Since the land has been taken out of farming production, the alkali has also retreated after years of gaining strength. All ranches and farms are subject to the whims of Mother Nature, and Audette knows full well how stingy she can be with moisture.
Oh, you bet it is. There isn't any water in this country. I'm in a little microclimate because of the Sweetgrass Hills and that lower elevation. If you look around, the land is all higher around, and I think the storm tracks just don't like to fall down in this big hole down here. And so it's a little drier. You see a little more cactus and the vegetation's a little different. But it's been the last 4 years I missed out on the spring moisture. I got 3.5 inches of moisture for the year in 1998. And this year I'm well over 4, but I'm not over 5.
The ranch relies heavily on this irrigated feed. Water is pumped from the river to the center pivot, and it has made all the difference in the world.
Irrigation has been probably the biggest thing that's improved this ranch. It's allowed me to have a pretty reliable source of feed for winter feeding. If I can get ahead, I can also sell some. I'm not selling any this year. And if the winter's not too tough, I'll have feed left over.
Living right on the Milk River has more advantages than just irrigation. The natural beauty of the area draws many tourists to Writing on Stone Provincial Park just a few miles away. And when fun seekers enjoy a getaway in the park's great outdoors, they often pass right through Last Sands Ranch.
Along a river, you just have to have some responsibility for it. Canoers, tubers, hikers, everybody comes through it, so we're responsible environmentally.
So Audette has fenced off several portions of the riverbank to control grazing access and prevent erosion.
I've become very conscious of the river valley itself and the type of vegetation and what the cows are doing, the beaver are doing, and the deer are doing, and the porcupines, and decided to try to address that. So I'm trying to give the native area, particularly the riparian areas, a bigger rest at the right times of the growth and trying to get more of the brush and the trees to be there so that I can utilize them in the winter as storm shelter. Fencing a few trees. The Milk River has got a few cottonwoods, and they are beautiful trees, and we don't have very many young ones, and so I'm working on that.
It's initiatives like these that won the Alberta Cattle Commission's Environmental Stewardship Award for Audette and his family. But Roy isn't the type to rest on his laurels. Next year, there are plans to fence off this dugout and allow limited access to the cattle. That way, both water quality and quantity will increase. Plus, his rotational grazing program will continue. Rotational feeding in the winter is also important to the ranch well-being. Roy Audette has been involved with the Riparian Habitat Management Project, better known as Cows and Fish, as well as a founding member of the Milk River Ranchers Association. That group's mandate is to promote water storage and pasture management in the area. This is country that can put up a fight at times against all who live here. But Roy Audette says he wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
The money sometimes gets secondary to the issue, you know.